Hi guys, welcome to another GCSE Maths video, and in this video we're going to go through week 7 inequalities. As always, if you're part of my class, you can download these notes from Google Classroom. If you're not part of my class, you can download it from the link in the description below. So, what I'd probably recommend as well, before you watch this video, if you haven't seen week 4 solving equations, I'd probably recommend watching that one first before you watch this one, because there are certain similarities between how you solve equations and how you solve algebra with inequalities as well. So I'd probably recommend watching that first if you haven't done so already. But let's make a start with this one. So hopefully by the end of the lesson you'll be able to show inequalities on the number line, solve algebra with inequalities, and draw the lines and identify regions of 3 given inequalities. So I might do regions in part 2. Let's see how we get on those. Let's make a start on inequalities. So you might have seen these symbols before. So this means greater than. If it's pointing the other way, that means less than. If it's got a line underneath it and it's pointing this way, that's greater than or equal to. And if it's pointing the other way with a line underneath it, that's less than or equal to. Yeah, so it's just a shorthand version of saying these sentences or phrases, sorry. So instead of writing greater than or equal to all the time, in maths we use symbols as shortcuts. So the one at the big end is the biggest. So you'll notice that if you do write things like 8 is greater than 4, you'll notice that the big end, or think of it as like a crocodile eating the bigger number, that's near the big number. So you wouldn't write it like this. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So this makes sense, but this doesn't. So you'll notice that the big end is always with the biggest number. So another thing as well, also x is greater than 4 and 4 is less than x. They both mean the same thing, i.e. x is greater than 4 and 4 is less than x. Yeah, both mean the same thing. So x is the bigger number, which is more than 4. Or another way of thinking of it, 4 is the smaller number, smaller than x. So let's have a look at certain questions that you might get in the exam, and this will apply for foundation and higher as well. So example 1, x is an integer such that minus 4 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 3. Write down all the possible values of x, 2 marks. So this looks a bit weird. If you've never seen anything like this before, if you've never seen inequalities, it does look a little bit strange, but basically what this means is that all our values for x are between these two numbers. Okay, and you just have to be careful with the signs. So minus 4 is not included because it's not equal to, so there's no line there. So my first number is going to be minus 3, and then minus 2, minus 1, 0 as well, that's included. Then we got 1, 2, and 3 will be included as well because it could be equal to, because there's a line there. Yeah, so these are all my possible values that x could be. If you miss any of these, or if you add any extra ones, you could lose marks for that. And just be careful with things like integer. Obviously you need to know what that means. That means whole numbers. And do notice that the arrows are always pointing this way, to the left. You'll never find them pointing the other way around. Okay, so if you want to try the next questions yourself, also something else to bear in mind, just make sure that you've got 1x or 1n in the middle, or whatever they're talking about, whichever variable they're talking about. That needs to be just one variable in the middle. Okay, so pause the video, have a go over the next questions yourself. When you're ready, just unpause the video and I'll go through the answers. Okay, let's go through these then. So practice question 1a. We've got -1 is less than or equal to n, which is less than 4. So n is an integer. Write down all the possible values of n. So it could be -1. Yeah, because it could be equal to that. Could be 0. 0 is an integer as well. And you've got 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Yeah, so 4 is not included because it's not equal to. So these are all the numbers that it could be, and that's 2 marks right there. Next one, 1b, n is a whole number such that 6 is less than or equal to 3n, which is less than 15. Write down all the possible values of n. So notice it says n we want. Yes, that should be a big clue to tell you that I don't want 3n, I want 1n. So I need to, let me just rewrite this first. So to get n from 3n, you'll have to divide by 3 here. But if you divide by 3 here, you're going to have to divide by 3 here. And divide by 3 on this side as well. So you get 2 here. Just 1 in the middle, which is what we want. And 5 on that side. Now you can figure out which are my possible values for n. So 2 is included. Then I've got 3. Then I've got 4. And that's it. 5 is not included. Yep, so that should be my answer. Let's move on to the next section. So how to solve inequalities. You solve them just like regular equations. Think of the equal sign, but don't write equals. Yes, every single year, whenever I mark any past papers or practice papers that students have done, I always get answers with the equal sign in it, and clearly that would definitely be wrong. So just be careful. You have to think of it as equals, but don't write equals because they will mark it wrong. So same like, you know how like you solve normal equations, same method as that. You know how we get rid of things on either side, we're going to use the same method. The only exception is whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip the inequality sign. Okay, so this is one of the rules that you have to remember for inequalities. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. Yeah, and I'll show you in an example in a minute. Let's have a look at this example 2a first. So solve the inequality. 4t minus 5 is greater than 11. So we need t on its own on one side, the same inequality sign ideally, and a number on the other side. So let's keep that there. Let's keep the 4t there. Let's get rid of the minus 5. So I'll have to plus 5 here, plus 5 here as well. So I've got 4t is greater than, still same symbol, 11 plus 5 gives me 16. And I just want 1t, so I'll have to divide by 4 to both sides. And that gives me 1t is greater than 4. And that whole thing is my answer, not just 4 on its own. T is greater than 4. Let's try the next example. In fact, this one, I'm going to do it 2 different ways. So let me do method 1 here. I'll show you why it's 2 methods. Let me just rewrite the inequality. So I want a positive p on one side. So at the moment, this is a negative 3p. So let's bring the minus 3p to the other side. So I'll have to plus 3p to both sides. That gives me minus 7 greater than 11 plus 3p. Okay, now let's get rid of the 11 on this side. I'll have to minus 11 here, minus 11 here. So minus 7 minus 11 is minus 18. It's getting colder. It's greater than 3p on that side. Just one more step. I'll have to divide by 3 here, and here I'll get minus 6 is greater than positive p. That's one solution. So let's put that down. That's my answer. And there is another way. Let me just show you method 2. Let me do it in a different color. And let me just rewrite my question. So let's keep this time around, let's keep the minus 3p here. Let's get rid of the minus 7, so I'll plus 7 to both sides. I've still got minus 3p on this side, because that minus is with that. On this side I'll get 11 plus 7, which is 18. Now I want to go from minus 3p to positive p, so I'll have to divide by minus 3. Yeah, I'll have to do the same to this side as well. That gives me positive p, but because I'm dividing by negative now, I'll have to flip the inequality sign, so the sign changes direction and goes the other way now. So now it's pointing that way. And just carry on as normal. 18 divided by minus 3 is minus 6. And this is another solution as well. So you could have p is less than minus 6, which you'll notice is the same as that as well. So minus 6 is greater than p, or p is less than minus 6. They both mean the same thing. Yeah, so either this method 1 solution is absolutely fine, or method 2 solution, that's absolutely fine as well. Whether you gave this answer or this answer makes no difference. Both answers are perfectly fine. So you'll notice in method 2 I had to flip the sign because I was dividing by a negative number. Remember the rules that we had here? Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. Yeah. Method 1 I didn't have to flip it because I didn't divide or multiply by a negative anywhere. Yeah. So I only did that in method 2. So your choice, whichever method you prefer. You know, you could do method 1 or you could do method 2. You're still going to get, you know, the correct answer. Just make sure that the inequality sign is pointing the right way. So have a go yourself. Practice question 2A onwards. Pause the video, and when you're ready, unpause it. Okay, let's go through these answers. So practice question 2A. Solve 3y minus 2 is greater than 13. So I'll keep the 3y there. Let's get rid of the minus 2. That gives me 3y is greater than 15. Divide both sides by 3. I get y is greater than 5. There's my answer. Y is greater than 5. Next one. Ooh, we've got x's on both sides. So again, similar sort of thing to when you were solving normal equations. I'm going to keep it on the bigger side. So let's keep the 2x here. Let's get rid of the 1x first to both sides. That gives me x plus 7 is greater than 11. Now let's get rid of the 7. That gives me x is greater than 4 for that. And there's my answer. X is greater than 4. 2 marks for that. Practice question 2C. So this one's where I've got a negative x. So I'm going to do this. You know what? I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to get rid of the 9. So I'm going to minus 9 here, minus 9 here. So I've got minus 2x greater than 6. And now I'm going to have to divide by minus 2 to both sides. So I'll get positive x. Now I'm going to have to flip the sign, and I'm going to get minus 3 here. So my answer should be x is less than minus 3. Or if you did it the other way around, if you move the minus 2x to the other side, your answer should be minus 3 is greater than x. Yep, so again, both answers are perfectly fine, either this one or this one. You only have to give one answer. Yep, so both answers are perfectly fine. Let's move on. Practice question 2D, solve this. Right, so I've got minus half x here. I'll do this the other way. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the minus half x to the other side. So I'll plus half x here, plus half x here as well. So I've got 8 plus half x greater than 3. Okay. Now let's minus 8 to both sides. So I've got half x is greater than minus 5. So now I've got half an x. I just want one x. I'm going to have to double it. So let's double that. I'll get a whole x, which is what I want. Greater than symbol is still the same. And I've got minus 10. So x greater than minus 10. Or if you did it the other way, your answer should look like that. Yeah, again, both answers are perfectly fine, whether you got this answer or this answer. Just be careful, just make sure your sign is pointing the right way. Let's move on to the next section, which is inequalities on a number line. So there's only 3 symbols that you need to know for this. So let's have a look at this example. I'll show you example 3a and 3b, and that should be enough to show you guys all 3 symbols. So the first one says, show the inequality x is greater than minus 3 on a number line. So what I normally do is, whatever number they're talking about, just put a circle on there. So let's put a circle on minus 3, and it should be floating above the number they're talking about. And if all my values of x are greater than minus 3, that's going to be going this way to the right of that. So let's draw a line going from that circle and just extend it, just keep it going until the end and just extend it. I'm going to make that a little bit clearer for you guys. Should look something like that. Yep. And we need an arrow on the end as well of this, yeah, to tell everyone that it's going on forever this way. Yeah, so it doesn't end. This line just keeps on going forever to the right, because all my values of x are this way. So that's that done. And also, if it was equal to as well, if it was less, if it was greater than or equal to, then you would fill in the circle. But in this case, because it's just greater than, it's an empty circle. Yeah, so one of those things you just have to remember. Okay, so if it's not included, it's empty. If it is included, you fill it in. Okay, and there's your answer for 3a. That's what it should look like. Next one, show the inequality. Minus 5 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 4. So our values of x are between these two numbers. Again, I'm going to draw circles above each number they mention. So there's one on minus 5 and there's one on 4. Okay, which one is included? So minus 5 is not included, so that's empty. 4 is included, so that's filled in, so let's colour that in. Okay, and you just draw a line between them because all my values of x are between those two numbers. Yeah, something like that. So obviously you guys use a pencil and a ruler. Definitely use a pencil as well, please guys, for any drawings, even in the exam, you know, because if you do it in pen and make a mistake, it's very, very difficult to correct that mistake. Have a go over the next one yourself, please. 3a onwards. So sometimes you might need to interpret what's going on in these number lines. So pause the video, have a go. When you're ready, unpause it. Let's go through the answers then, guys. So practice question 3a. Write down the inequality shown in the diagram. So this is a range of values between minus 4 and 3. Definitely, those are my numbers. And x is going to be in the middle because they've put an x here on the line. So -4 is not included, so that's just less than. 3 is included, so that is less than or equal to. Yeah, and that should be your answer. 2 marks for that. Notice that the arrows are always pointing to the left. Okay. Next one. This is one where you've got x is either less than or greater than a number. Yeah, so it's not a range of values, it goes on forever. So my number is 3, definitely. And my values of x are going to be less than. And in this case, could be included as well, so it could be equal to. And my number is 3. Yep, that's my answer. 2 marks for that. Practice question 3c, on the number line below, show the inequality. -2 is less than y, which is less than 3. So my two numbers are -2, 3. And they're both not included, so they're both going to be empty. And just draw a line between them. Yep, so it should look something like that. 2 marks for that. Next one. On the number line below, show the inequality -4 is less than m, which is less than or equal to 3. So -4 is here, 3 is here, 3 is included, let's plug that in, and -4 is not included, so that's empty. Let's draw the line in between. Yep, there's my answer. So it should look something like this. Practice question 3e, on the number line below, show the inequality -1 is less than or equal to x over 2, which is less than or equal to 2, so this looks a bit weird. I don't want x over 2. I just want x on its own, so I'm going to have to double that to get rid of the fraction. But if I double that, I'll have to double everything. Yeah, so that'll be -2. Same symbol, x in the middle, which is what I want, and that's going to be 4. So now I can do my circles. So my circles are going to be above -2 and +4. Yeah, and they're both going to be included, so I'm going to have to fill them both in. Yeah, and just draw a line between them. Yep, there's my answer for practice question 3e. So that's inequalities done, and in the next section, in fact I'm going to do this in the second part of the video. So in the second part of the video I'm going to go through regions. It's a little bit unusual, especially if you've never done it before. It is actually a grade 7 topic, I would say. So obviously you need to know how to do straight line graphs, how to draw straight line graphs. That's very important for regions, and finding the actual region they're talking about is a little bit tricky, but I'll show you ways of trying to figure it out. There's various ways that I use that do help. And yeah, if you did find this video useful, don't forget to press the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. You know, your support is very much appreciated, and you know, I will continue making these videos. Thank you guys, and I shall see you in part 2 when I go through regions.